Hello everyone and welcome to another strategy video by YetiText. Today, the topic that I want to talk about is a topic that I see a lot of people drop the ball on. And what it is the importance of using SMS as a live conversation tool or using it as a conversation starter versus just trying to sell through text. Um, so some of the questions I want you to ask yourself, one of the biggest ones is, are you engaging or not using your SMS messaging? And by engaging, I mean asking questions and using it to interact with your customers. Um, One thing that we've seen is when you're not utilizing a live response or live aspect with your SMS, you're leaving a huge hole in the business. Why? Because generally what we see most often is you're trying to sell through SMS. And I know that sounds a little silly because, of course, you're trying to sell your product, sell your service. But what I mean is you're strictly just selling through text. You're talking at the customer. You're not engaging. SMS, has 160 characters, and you simply can't sell effectively through 160 characters. You want to use SMS to drive your content and to engage with your customers and to have that conversation and then to begin that process of selling. Uh, Maybe you haven't been able to do live SMS because the system or service that you're using currently doesn't allow for live conversations. Maybe they only allow for automation setups and everything like that. So I've been in the SMS space for about 7 years now, and I've seen a lot of this happen with people where they came from a system that doesn't allow for live SMS or weren't aware that it allowed for live SMS, or they're simply just trying to, like we just talked about, talk at customers. They're not trying to respond or have SMS built in a way that someone wants to respond to it. And maybe it's simply because you don't have an easy way to respond back. There's a few different reasons we see people doing all of that. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest mistakes that I see is blocking customers from responding. And by this, I don't mean they're actually blocking an incoming message. What they're doing is they're more pushing someone away. When a customer tries to reply to an automated text, they have something set up that tells them this an email only. They have to email, they have to call. And that immediately sends up a flag, at least in my mind. From my personal experience, and I've seen this done, it sends up a flag. It makes me, it just kind of builds frustration on my end when I want just a simple response. You're texting me, I feel like I should just be able to text back. And so it builds this frustration of, why can't I simply reply directly to you when you're talking to me? Um, and in some cases, it might just push them away. They might go somewhere else, somewhere with an easier process overall, instead of having to call, or sometimes maybe I'm just not able to call at the moment and I just want to text. Again, texting is easy. Everyone does it. So it makes it super simple to have a process in place where people can just respond. And again, maybe your system doesn't allow for that. Maybe you don't have an easy way of responding to these texts. That's what we're going to talk about with YetiText, and how we can help you with that. So I want to show you something here, effectively kind of to help you identify maybe where you are in your process. So I have a simple little bell curve here, and I want to talk about where we see people landing in the world of SMS automation overall. And the first stage here, I'm going to call it the ignore stage. This is people that I'm going to say aren't aware of the automation options that they have, or they just aren't using them. They're just ignoring the fact that they can set up automation with SMS, and they're just using old school methods, or just not worried about it at all. Whatever they're doing seems to work for them, they think, and they don't want to open those options. The next stage, which is by far the biggest stage, I'm going to call this the deployment stage. This is where you have some sort of automation service at your disposal, but maybe you don't either have the support to deploy it accurately, you're not aware of some of the strategies behind it. So you use the tool, but bare minimum. Maybe you just have, how to do a manual broadcast that you do once a month. You don't have any real automation set up behind it. And I would say this is where most people land. Um, closer towards the next stage that we're going to talk about, but you're still at the deployment stage. You're at the stage of maybe what you want, but you don't know how to do it successfully, or you don't have, or you're not aware of a tool that can help you get it done. And that's where YetiText comes into play. The next stage, I'm going to call this the automated stage. This is where you have, again, an automated service created and working, but you're not using it to its fullest potential, which is what we were talking about before, where you're talking at customers through text. You're not using it to engage with your customers. And again, you simply can't effectively sell through a text alone. You need to use that SMS function to create that conversation, to create that connection with your customers. And that is where YetiText comes into play, where we get you to the engaging stage, where we can help you with your automated messages and that process, and help you begin engaging with your customers and building those relationships that you want, and really take advantage of what SMS can open up for you, which is the speed to connection. Someone texts you or you text them, they can instantly respond, and you can easily respond back. You can have that conversation, and it can move and build that relationship quickly. And that's what you want. You want speed, that speed to sell. So building that connection is really simple when you lay it out in kind of this type of area here. So essentially what we want the SMS to do is we want to push to our content. We want to push to our videos. We want to push to our pages. We want to push to the content to educate people on our products and services and everything like that. And after they absorb the content, we want that conversation starter to be a part of the process. We want to try and engage with people based on the content. We want to engage with their questions and be able to respond back and forth. And with YetiText, we make it super simple by allowing you to create multiple team members, so that you can have a support system for your customers when they respond to these automated messages. So you can set up team members quickly. We have both a desktop and a mobile app to help them respond. So if you have a team, that's fantastic. And they're working throughout the day, they can just easily pull up YetiText on their desktop and be responding to incoming texts and building those relationships, communicating with your customers, making everything run smoothly for you. Or if it's just yourself, like I said, we have a mobile app. While you're out and about, you can use that mobile app to engage with people as they're texting and engaging with your conversation starters. So again, the reason we want to review this is because a lot of people are just building your texts to sell, just selling at your customer, talking at your customer, not using it to engage. So you want to take the time to build these conversations or SMS tools as a conversation starter. That's going to increase your retention and kind of boost your overall customer experience. You want to avoid at all costs that blocking problem that we talked about. Again, not exactly blocking, but you're pushing them away. You're pushing them to call only. You're pushing them to email only. So effectively, what we want to do is move you from either that deployment stage or automated stage into the engaging stage. So even if you've got some SMS automation, we want to help you optimize that and begin communicating back and forth with your customers to boost, the amount of people that you're talking to, the amount of good conversations you're having, building those relationships, all of the above. It does all of that for you. So essentially, if you want to learn more or want to see more about how YetiText can help you do that, reach out to YetiText. Just go to YetiText.com. Reach out to our support team. We'd be happy to show you the messenger, how it works. We'd be happy to talk to you about how you can integrate it with your different CRMs like ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, whatever you're using. Be happy to do all of that for you. Our support team is fantastic and will help you right along with that. So if you have any other questions, again, feel free to reach out. If not, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.